Welcome back, everyone. I am James Marcuzzo. It is week 4. This is the KSS. I'm going to talk to you about the Isabel Sawhill article. Still the land of opportunity? Question mark. Fantastic article. Agree or disagree with it. She lays out a case. She explains what she thinks the problems are in very reasonable terms. She seems to take a measured approach. And then she offers us some of what she thinks might be solutions. I will not be able to cover everything she discusses. It's a bit of a read. I think maybe 9 pages, but totally worth it. And I hope you all will consider, if you read the Matthews article from week 3, consider what he was discussing, and then what she is discussing. See where they are agreeing or disagreeing, and how they're phrasing things differently, because it's a big difference. And I think this is a great example of bad article, better article. That being said, she starts off with a discussion about inequality and how inequality is necessary to drive economic growth. It's just part of the equation. In an equal society, no one is free, and in a free society, no one is equal. Right? People have different predilections, behaviors, traits, preferences, capabilities, and so we will all end up in different places doing different things. But that freedom, that inequality, drives massive economic growth. And so the question is, how much is too much? How much inequality is too much? Currently in the United States, we have more economic inequality than we have ever had in the past. And in fact, the amount of wealth concentrated in the top small percentage versus the bottom fifth quintile is shockingly disparate, to where some people find it an offensive difference. Right? They have a moral reaction to the difference in wealth. And I don't know if that's appropriate or not. But it is at least enough that we're talking about it. And so she points out that while the inequality is necessary for economic growth, too much is bad for us. And how do we know that? Well, we know that it's bad for us because there are people at the bottom who see that huge gulf and they start to wonder if the game is rigged. In so many terms, so many words. And then their incentive to participate in the system, in the game, is diminished greatly or eradicated entirely, and that's bad for all of us. So we want people to feel like it's worth participating in the system because it's not corrupt, but we also want it to actually not be corrupt, so they actually have a good reason to participate in the system and to benefit from doing so. In so many words, right. So she gets into a discussion about some different sorts of organizations of society, from a meritocracy, which is what we currently have, more or less. And this is the exact thing that Dylan Matthews actually had a problem with when he talked about a problem with equality of opportunity. What he really had a problem with was meritocracy. And there is some legitimate frustration to be had with meritocracy because of the inequality between people, because of genetics and because of household experiences. Different people will develop differently, and some will develop really great skills, and some people will really have a hard time because of different circumstances. And that makes a meritocracy a bit frustrating. It's just that there is no better other solution. So we're trying to work within the parameters of what we got. Moving on, she discusses a little bit about how economic mobility works, or has worked and can work. She focuses quite a bit really, at the end of it. I'm skipping a lot of stuff, but understand that that's the inequality and the meritocracy and what we can do to fix some of the problems for the people at the bottom, which is what Matthews also is interested in. But her approach is, okay, well, what do we know matters? Well, we know that family or household matters. So can we encourage better traits, better behaviors, more stability, more structure? Single parent families, very bad. I'm not trying to make a moral claim that people that are single parents are immoral or bad. Not even trying to do that. Circumstances outside of people's control happen all the time. But we do know that single parent households are suboptimal to a great degree. And two parent households are much more preferable for the community and for the raising of that child, and for the well-being of the people raising the child. Raising a child by yourself is insanely difficult. Right. So she talks about family and what types of things we can do to encourage. And I'm always cautious about this kind of thing because I get real nervous when people talking about government policy and government intervention in people's private lives. But the breakdown of the American family is of great concern for social, cultural, and economic reasons for people's personal well-being, happiness, and equality, and all that stuff. Then she jumps into a discussion about education because if we can simultaneously create more stable households that produce safer, happier, more well-adjusted, more well-balanced children, and we can put them into an education system that works better than it currently does, then we can see the positive results, right, that Matthews probably wants to see as well. She's just offering this path to that result instead of this equity thing that the other author had mentioned. So I think it's a good read. I hope you do take the time to understand it. You don't necessarily have to agree, and you may find some things in here that she says you don't like. Fair enough. But I encourage you to nonetheless take the time. All right. Just over 6 minutes. That's great. We're going to call it. Good luck, and contact me with any questions.